Odell.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy. I'm back with the NFL podcast with my special guest, Flipside and Wallatar. What's up, gentlemen?
What's up, man? Oh, man, it's here in the morning right now. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the season. You guys quarterbacks still alive and thriving, but unfortunately, off for the year.
Oh my God. Let me cross my heart for Jimmy G, and that is 137,000. I mean, that is 137 million down the damn drain. And see, this is why Le'Veon Bell. I hope to God that you watching. This is why they don't like to pay big bucks, because anything that can go wrong in the NFL will go wrong. You can't be asking for no damn 8-figure contracts. Then you end up that's why they don't want to pay nobody, because they don't want to pay nobody that kind of scratch. Because as soon as you sign the dotted line on that contract, that guaranteed money. All right. Jimmy G signed a $137 million contract. He's guaranteed $90 million for that, and he's not gonna be back until mid next season probably. He probably won't be back to like week 3. I know he's probably not gonna be back to like week 3 of the 2018-2019 season or 2019-2020 season. But yeah. Now, fellas, before we get into our predictions and our recap of last week, I got a couple things that I want to discuss. First off, Clay Matthews was entirely right. The league is getting soft. That penalty call was a bunch of BS. And if you guys seen the Steelers Tampa Bay Bucks game last night, there was 6 roughing the passer penalties, and 4 of them were on the Steelers, and 3 of those were all in the same quarter. So Clay Matthews was absolutely right. Like, these roughing the passer penalty calls are starting to get stupid. And like, watch, in the next 4 years, it's going to be damn near be flag football. Now, I mean, and the thing is, Mike Mitchell and other defensive players have voiced their opinions on this as well. I mean, you're taking the football out of football, and I guarantee you, even if you did take a tackling out of football, there's still like a good chance of getting injured. I mean, somebody can slip and fall and break a limb. A ligament can get torn. Something like that. Accidental stuff. Accidents happen, and nobody means to intentionally, hurt somebody in football. Now, don't get me wrong, because I thought that Clay Matthews' call was BS. I mean, to me, that was a football play. Now, if you tackle somebody and you leave with your forearm, your elbow, your helmet, and you drive it into their chest along with your body weight on the ground, then that's a penalty. But you can't sit there and then just and hit somebody. You can't stop momentum. Like, how is somebody supposed to, you're supposed to go from 0 to 25 in just a couple of seconds, and you can't stop your full momentum. It's damn near impossible to do that. But what are y'all thinking about this rule? Like, Flip and Wallace, what do you guys think?
I think the rule it's cool, but the whole laying on the quarterback getting flags every time is terrible.
Yeah.
I understand that,
Yeah, they want to protect the players. They want to protect the quarterbacks.
Them into the ground. Yeah, drive the quarterback to the ground. Cool. We want to protect the quarterback. But you're just laying on him like, it's not even like a full blown, like, I'm putting all my weight on you. It's like, I just sacked you because it's a tackle. So, it's not like they're even trying to drive him to the ground. They're just like putting their weight on him for a quick second because that's a tackle. That's what they were taught to do. They're taught to tackle that way. Can't change that. But I don't know. It seems like the refs are just using it as an excuse to like put teams back into the game. Like, I don't know, man. It's a really weird rule, and they definitely need to change it mid-season.
Yeah.
Not next season.
Yeah. Yeah, the competition committee, I guess they're talking about is looking at all the penalties, because it really is like, it's going to be a big story. It's going to be kind of a storyline every single week, especially because Clay Matthews, especially because he's he's one of the more like visible players the league has, one of the defensive stars, and for him to get penalized 3 weeks in a row, and I felt like every single week, like the penalty has been more and more glaringly bad. Like, I felt like this past week was just completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you could have made a case maybe week 1. I think it was like a bang thing, close. But it's like every single week, like how we hit this guy, it just seems more and more ridiculous. Like, I really would like to see Clay Matthews like tackle the guy as gently as possible, on purpose, and then look at the ref and like wait for the ref to throw a flag. Like, just kind of like mock the league. It is absolutely crazy and ridiculous, the BS that Clay Matthews has endured. And I mean, it is obviously a protection of the quarterback. We've already seen, like, how just by injury, with obviously Jimmy G. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers, the first game of the season, like the play can drop drastically, and I know the league's trying to avoid losing their big stars, but you're definitely hampering the product and annoying and angering the fans. Like you're trying to take away a physical aspect of this game, and I don't know. I think it's just going to be a slippery slope. I think we're not too far out from flag football, like y'all suggested.
Yeah. Now on to what I really wanted to talk about. Last week, it was a week for the underdogs. There was a game that I picked that you guys picked against me, which was the Cowboys and Seahawks game. I got that one right. Wazatov, you were right about the Lions Patriots game. Now I'll tell you why you were right about that game. It's because Matt Patricia knows the offense. Nobody knows the defensive scheme of the Patriots better than Matt Patricia, and he's their head coach now. So yeah, I mean, you were right about that. I mean, can't nobody say that the Patriots falling off. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that Matt Patricia, if anybody knows how to beat the Patriots, it was him, because he's been Bill Belichick's right-hand man for a decade. So yeah, I mean, Walter, kudos to you. Congratulations for getting that one right. And Flip, yeah.
And I was gonna say, like, I just had a feeling about that game, and like, the Patriots to me are a little bit of I don't know if they're starting to fall off a little bit. Obviously, they're still. I mean, they're going to get Josh Gordon, and then they're going to get Edelman back. So their receiver is going to be a hell of an upgrade. But when I look at that roster, it's like you're kind of like you lost Deion Lewis, kind of depending on like Chris Hogan and Sony Michel, who hasn't really like stepped up at all. Like the other the Lions rookie running back, Kerwin. Johnson. Okay. He was drafted much later than the Patriots. He took Sony Michel, I think late in the first round, and he pulled it up. And I think the Patriots. I don't know what's going on. It's just when the whole news came out with Gronk potentially being traded to the Lions. Like it seems very. I don't know. A lot of stuff coming out about the Patriots, and stuff's not really being kept in house. I don't know. It just seems like this is kind of an odd year for him, and I just didn't trust. I just thought like the Lions might catch him, especially in Detroit. So yeah, it's an upset run.
Yeah, and let's talk about it. I was watching ESPN this morning. I was watching Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. They were reviewing the Steelers and Bucks game, and they said that Fitzmagic turned into Fitzpatrick. 3 interceptions all in the second quarter. But they said that even though the Steelers won that game, they still got heavily criticized. And I myself heavily criticized the Steelers in that game. The pros were that not Le'Veon Bell, but James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster, they both got off. They won. That's the biggest con. And the linebackers really did step up for the Steelers. But the cons were, obviously, the secondary still gets torched. They need to stop with the penalties. The Steelers had 155 yards with the penalties yesterday. That's pretty much a whole damn touchdown and a half right there. You can't give them 150 yards with the penalties. You just can't do that, especially if you're in an away game. And the Steelers need to do a better job of closing the games. They really do. They can't, be up for double digits and then all of a sudden win by less than a touchdown or win by a field goal. I mean, but hey, a win is a win. But anyway, what is the game of the week last week for you guys' opinion? My game of the week has got to. You know what? I am going to go with a sleeper game of the week, which was, well, to me, Green Bay and Washington. To me, that was the game of the week last week. But what about you guys? Flip, what's your game of the week?
I don't even know if I had a game of the week, man.
Pretty good.
Which one?
Last night's game.
The Steelers Bucks.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining.
Yeah, good back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be my game of the week. It was entertaining seeing Fitz throw all those interceptions and roast, and then coming back and almost winning the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give Steelers a bunch of my game of the week.
All right, Wazatov, what about you?
Yeah, I would say that game. I think obviously the Niners Chiefs could have been a game of the week if Jimmy G didn't get out. That game, they started coming back, and that would have been really interesting. Especially even with Jimmy G getting knocked out, their backup Bernard came in and still threw a touchdown on 4th and goal on the first snap, and that got called back. So that would have been uphold. That game would have been really interesting. I'll go with dark horse though. That Jets Cleveland game was pretty sneaky entertaining once what's going on? Yeah, once Baker Mayfield down wide threw a blank on his name. That was very exciting watching him play. Like that game was a lot different when he got on the field. Obviously him catching that 2-point conversion, and that was actually I actually liked that game. I'll give that my game of the week. That's not my dark horse for entertaining.
All right, now to you guys, who was the most improved team of the week last week? Me personally, I'm probably gonna have to give it to. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to give it to. I will go ahead and say the Pittsburgh Steelers. For me, it's a toss-up between the Steelers and probably Green Bay. Yeah, probably Green Bay. Not probably Green Bay. Probably Washington, especially since they lost last week to the Colts, which to me that was a game they shouldn't have lost. But yeah, it's a toss-up between the Redskins and the Steelers. Probably leaning closer to the Steelers since they got their first win. And the odds, I look in the day of the game, the odds were actually even. But Flip, what about you? Who's the most improved team of the week for you last week?
100% absolutely the Bills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they went from having their star quarterback retire at halftime to blowing out the Vikings.
Yeah, nobody saw that.
Barely got a touchdown in the fourth.
Yeah.
And they didn't make the field goal. Like, man, that was a surprising game. I did not expect the Bills to shit on them like that.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, the Vikings were like 16-point favorites going into that game.
Yeah.
And, for them to get blown out like that, I think that was definitely like the most improved for the Bills, and definitely like the choke of the week for the Vikings. Like how do you let that happen against the Bills, against Josh Allen in Minnesota?
Oh yeah, that's definitely my choke of the week. Definitely.
Yeah, and I guess at some point, like I'm sure, like obviously these are just grown ass men, adults. Like I'm sure all the guys in the roster were tired of hearing all that shit about Vontae Davis retiring at halftime and how they have no absolute chance against the Vikings and how they're probably the worst team in Buffalo. I mean, freaking what's his name, Jordan Matthews, on that squad, he made a joke that I guess when he was in Buffalo, he's like he had his child in Buffalo. So there's nothing to do in Buffalo. Like the whole town itself, they're kind of being ridiculed. And I guess at some point, obviously you get tired of hearing that. You go out there and you play even harder than you normally do, and obviously it showed on the field. So any given Sunday, but that was probably my most improved team, and then double chance most choke of the week for the Vikings.
Yeah, Flip. Before we get in our predictions for Week 4, what's your choke of the week?
I got to go with the Vikings too.
Yeah.
You can't have the weapons that they have. That they still have the same team. They made it to the playoffs with arguably a better quarterback. You're not supposed to be getting blown out by the team that is supposed to be a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got to give him choke of the week.
All right. Now, Week 4. Here we go. The LA Rams going up against the Minnesota Vikings at home. Flip, who do you got? Rams, Vikings. This is the NFC Championship game right here. I mean, on paper, yeah, it is. But yeah, after the performance of Minnesota, especially on the road against the Rams, what do you got? Who you got?
I might have to go with the Vikings on this one just because Marcus Peters and Akeem Talib were both injured in the same game, so they're going to be out a few weeks.
Yeah.
Definitely think that the Vikings want to bounce back too after being humiliated.
Yeah.
So it's going to be close. I mean, the Rams can still pull it off even without Talib or Marcus Peters, but I'm gonna edge it to the Vikings and say they win 24 to 20.
Mm-hmm. Wazzle Top, what about you? Vikes, Rams, who you got?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned, obviously, with the injuries on defense for the Rams. The Vikings are kind of catching them at a good time. I'm sure the Vikings are motivated. The Rams are obviously, rolling through the season right now, so it might be due for a slip-up game. This may happen. I'm curious to see how Cousins does against the defense. If they get Dalvin Cook back, I think he's still questionable, but they're expecting him to play. If he plays at 100%, I will give the slight edge to the Vikings. I like Cousins a little more than Goff, and I like both defenses. I could maybe take, but I like the quarterback for the Vikings a little more than Goff right now. So I'm going to give the slight edge to the Vikings. I'll say this game. I think this game's going to be a little high scoring Thursday night game. So again, it's going to be an NFC Championship preview.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with the Vikings in this 27, Rams 24.
For the first time, well, not for the first time, looks like we have our first hat trick because I compared both stats to teams, both stats, like I said, this is a potential NFC championship game right here. We'll probably see them again in the postseason together. But yeah, the Rams, they are due for a loss. In Minnesota, they are looking to, get that bad taste out of their mouth for, losing to the Bills. So, I mean, this is my first underdog pick of the week, even though the Rams are at home. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one to Minnesota by 6 points here. Give me 27-21 Minnesota. Yeah, looks like we're all picking the underdog this week, fellas. Yeah. Well, we all got to have at least one underdog pick. But shoot, by the way it looks right now, I think I'm going to have like 5 underdog picks this week. Don't be surprised.
Don't follow the hype, man.
Yeah.
Things are going to go back to normal.
Yeah. Well, they're always good for one. Yeah. All right. Anyway. Yeah. Anywho, next we got the New York Jets on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Flip, who you got? Jets, Jags.
Sam Darnold, man, he's looking real mediocre out there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is another game that the Jags should win just because I don't know. I don't feel like the Jets are formidable on defense enough to stop them. I think the Jets are good, they're decent on defense, but Fournette's back this week probably. Yeah, it just feels like it's a Jags game for them to win. I'll give it to the Jags, 17-6.
Low scoring game. All right, Walter Todd, who you got? Jets, Jags.
Yeah, this is gonna be a low scoring game. I like Jags to come out and actually show something because some people were talking about this game being one of the best games in the AFC, and then they lay an egg against Tennessee Titans and only scored like 6 points.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I think they came out flat last game. I think that defense is going to be chomping at the bit against Sam Darnold. He's going to have his hands full. With that front line, with that front seven and Ramsey. The Jets should win this game. They need to because they got to show something. If they're gonna come out and be the same team they were last year in the AFC like contenders, they got to beat these winnable games, especially against a rookie. I'm gonna say Jags in this game. They're favored by a touchdown. I can kind of see that being the case in this one. I'll say Jags 24, Jets 17.
Looks like we have another hat trick, gentlemen. But the only difference is, I see this game being a lot closer than people have it because the Jets right now, something to prove, not a damn thing to lose. And who better to put up a show against in Jacksonville? they're gonna. I got a feeling that the Jets are gonna try to pull out all the stops and make it a fight, but I still think Jacksonville, just because of the defensive juggernaut they have, the defensive juggernaut they are, and with Leonard Fournette coming back, I feel like that Jacksonville is just gonna pull it out. So I believe it or not, I've got Jacksonville winning this by 3, 17-20, Jags. Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins going up against the New England Patriots. And it is at Foxborough. Flip, who you got?
I don't think that Matt Patricia is coaching the Dolphins too.
No.
I think we're safe on this one for another hat trick, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you guys are gonna go with, but I think Edelman and Gordon are in this game too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go give this one to the Patriots. The Dolphins have been pretty impressive this season, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they would, be this far ahead. Maybe. I mean, they beat the Raiders. I think I predicted they beat the Raiders,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just not in the same league as the Patriots. The last week's game was just Matt Patricia knowing the offense very well. So I'm just going to give it to the Patriots if they win it 27-16.
All right. Top, who you got? Dolphins, Pats.
Actually, Edelman's not in this game. He's on a 4-game suspension.
Oh yeah.
Does that affect your pick at all?
I don't think so.
Nah.
Okay. So I think this game will be very telling. The Miami hasn't really won against a good team, I would say, a team that we would respect a win from. So I'm not sure about Miami yet, but this is going to be the first test, especially against a team that has owned them the last decade and a half in that division.
Yeah.
So, but I'll pretty much say this: if the Dolphins win this game, I think it's fair to say that the Patriots dynasty might be coming to an end. I don't think the Patriots, because that'll be 3 in a row they've lost. Can you remember last time? I can't remember last time the Patriots have lost 3 in a row.
15 years ago.
What's that?
Yeah, I think it was about at least 15 years ago. The last time they lost, they were down 1-3. I think. Or I think it was that season. I think it was that season where Tom Brady was injured, where he had that Achilles injury.
Oh, okay. Wait. Like 08?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this would be very surprising. Like I don't know. Brady looks like set up on the sidelines a little bit.
Yeah.
He's just not. It's just not in the thing. He's not clicking with the guys right now. Hopefully, once Edelman comes back after next week, it'll be a different story. Gronk, I don't know. Gronk doesn't look right. He's not the Gronk of old. And meanwhile, I mean, Dolphins are kind of playing really well. You know what? I think this might be even in New England. I think this might be potential upset. I'm actually going to go with it. I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this game, 20-14.
Low scoring? Nah. All right. Now if this was a Miami home game, I might actually pick Miami to win this one if they were at home. But I just have more faith in New England's offense. I mean, because let's face it, New England's defense has been getting burned a lot lately. Even in the one game that they did win, New England's defense is getting burnt. So, and all they have to rely on is Tom Brady and his weapons on offense. Hell, the running game isn't even really what it used to be. Their running game is just okay. All it is just Tom Brady just gunslinging, and that's pretty much it. And the thing is, do you really want to be a one-trick pony? Do you want to be a one-dimensional team, even as good as Bill Belichick and Brady are? No, you don't. But I think that Miami probably might make it a close game, but I still trust New England to pull this thing out. And because, like I said, it's at Foxborough. Miami's success rate at Foxborough is not that high. So go ahead and give me New England by 10 points, 27-17. All right.
See that, man.
Next game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles on the road against the Tennessee Titans. This game might be more competitive than people are giving it credit for, especially since Tennessee was the underdog last week and was able to hold Jacksonville just to 6 points. Y'all, and the thing is, Philadelphia, even though they've won a game or two, like the thing is, they've been just scratching out games. They haven't, got that convincing win yet. And Nick Foles, not Nick Foles, but Carson Wentz just came back last week and he looked all right. But before I give my pick, Flip, who you got? Eagles, Titans.
Look, man, Carson Wentz is not Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
So right then and there, I already know that the Eagles are scoring more than 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
Alshon Jack, which is going to be pretty interesting to see. Honestly, if he's going to be the elite receiver that we've seen from the Bears and not this recent one we've seen on the Eagles. Yeah, this seems like a pretty clear-cut pick here, Dread. I got to go with the Eagles here. I'll say 23-13. Maybe not even 13. Maybe like 23-9 because they have like Austin Davis now. They lost Gabbard. Mariota, no Gabbard. I think one of their O linemen got hurt, so now they got Austin Davis. This might be like a 23-9 thing.
All right. Wazzle, who you got? You got the Titans or you got the Eagles?
I got the Eagles in this. I think it's pretty definitive to pick them. I think another Wentz will only start to get better and better as the season progresses and he starts getting the rust off. Yeah, I think Flip mentioned if Jeffrey potentially being back, that'll be helpful. Meanwhile, the Titans, I'm not sure what quarterbacks they're going to be fielding. I think Gabbard's still going through concussion protocol, and Mariota is still kind of recovering from his injury. So I don't know who they're going to put on the field. I think it's going to be kind of a blowout if they even have to go to a third string guy. But even with Mariota that's injured or Gabbard against that Eagles defense, I like the Eagles' chances in this game. So I like the Eagles. I think the Eagles really haven't looked like the dominant defending champ. I would expect yet. But I think this will be the game that they kind of show up offensively and put up some big points and look like a contender again. So I'm going to say Eagles in this game, 30, Titans, 17.
All right. Now, believe it or not, I actually got this as a close game. Regardless of who's starting at quarterback for Tennessee does good at home, as we all seen. But Philly in this game is going to have something to prove, which means the defense is going to step up a hell of a lot. And if Philly gets their running game the way it was, in the postseason of last year, it's a wrap. It's over because Tennessee is not that good against the run. They're really not. And the reason why is because a lot of people don't see it coming. And that's something that Philly is good at. But me, I actually got this as a close game. Give me Philly by 4 points over the Tennessee Titans, 28-24. All right, next we got a AFC South divisional matchup. Houston Texans on the road against Indianapolis Colts. Wazzle, who you got?
Man, I can't. I'm just disappointed in this Texans game. I thought they would do much better than what they're showing. It's just. I think that coach. I think if they lose another couple games, if they lose the next couple of games, I think they fire that coach, Bill O'Brien. I don't think they got too much talent to not be winning right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, so I'll with the weapons. I kind of favor luck at home in this game against Houston, even though talent-wise, I like the players on Houston better than the Colts. I mean, I could see, J.J. Watt, just running down, love the entire game, wrecking havoc. But for some reason, the Texans just can't get it together. They haven't shown me that they can do that yet. Meanwhile, I kind of like the grit that the Colts games are close. You know, they almost caught the Bengals in week 1. I felt it was kind of competitive game. Last week was competitive with the Eagles. So I like the Colts in this. They showed me more over this season. So I like the Colts. I'll play Colts in this game. 23, Texans, 14.
All right, Flip, who you got? Texans, Colts.
I feel like even at home, I don't think the Texans or the Colts are going to be too amazing. Their defense still needs a lot of work. Luck hasn't thrown for over 200 yards since week 1. Their running game seems a little weird. Marlon Mack's out. Naeem Hines looks pretty good, but the Texans, like a lot of people saying, they have too many weapons, man. I can't kind of go against them. I feel like they're going to get everything settled. Will Fuller and D-Hop look amazing. Lamar Miller is decent, I guess. He's not the greatest running back. But, I mean, speaking of defense, I don't know what J.J. Watt's problem is. I was thinking he'd be back because it looks like the defensive player of the year he is. I don't know. He had a couple guys spots me. You might be on the now. Yeah, I think he, I want to say he had like 3 guys spots there, actually. He had like, he had 3 Manning. Yeah, Manning. So he might be making the turnaround. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of boosts my confidence in taking the Texans here. I'm going to go with the Texans here. I'm going to say 31 to 20.
All right. I was going back and forth about this game because Indianapolis is still finding themselves. They're still trying to shake off the rust from last year's debacle of a season. And Houston, they're due for a win. But the question is, are they going to get it? And you guys are right. Houston has entirely too much talent on both sides of the ball to be in the predicament they're in. I mean, come on, they're 0-3 right now. And Indy, I mean, a lot of people feel like they pulled an upset against the Redskins, who on paper are who are a better team than Indy at this point in the season. Keyword at this point. Andrew Luck is starting to get his legs back up under him, and I mean the man's football IQ is through the roof. He just needs to execute a lot better. Both defenses, Houston's defense at this point is better than Indy. That's no doubt about it. Indy's defense is kind of a shell of its former self. So I think that it's going to be completely reliant on how long Andrew Luck has the football in his hands. So with that in mind, go ahead and give me Indy by 7 points over Houston, 28-21. All right, next up, we got Buffalo going up against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. Flip, who you got?
Don't do it. Please, Dred, don't do it. I'm telling you right now, the Bills, that was a fluke. It was a fluke week, man. I can hear the excitement in your voice. You were ready to pick those Bills.
Do I want to do it? Want to do it this? Do I want to do it? Do I want to go there this week?
Oh, don't do it. It's coming back down to reality.
Yeah.
Like the Packers, they got Aaron Jones back, and he looks good out there. They're gonna unleash him finally, probably.
Wait a minute. How many teams are 1-1-1 in the league right now? Like 3 of them?
I think maybe.
It's the Browns, the Steelers, and the Browns, the Steelers, and Green Bay.
Yeah, 3 of them are 1-1-1.
That's crazy. Has that ever happened before?
Does that mean the Vikings are 0-1?
No. I don't think so.
No, the Vikings have a win.
Yeah, they got to win.
Actually, the 4 teams are 1-1-1.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Wow.
1-1-1, 14.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, go on.
This doesn't seem like a Bills team that's going to keep this going. I feel like the Vikings underestimated their opponent. It got out of hand. And it was a lot of turnovers this game. Because I remember the Bills were starting their drives from like the 40-yard line every chance I put. So I don't think that the Packers defense is going to get exposed that badly. They're not the greatest defense, but I feel like turnovers were the main culprit in that last game. We'll see the Bills come back down to earth this week. I'll say Packers beat them. Oh, and it's at Lambeau too.
Yes, at Lambeau.
Yeah, Packers win 23-14.
All right, Walter, who you got? Packers, Bills.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Josh Allen played pretty well. He had a really impressive game against that Vikings defense. And obviously, like I think it's maybe safe to say the Packers defense isn't really holding a candle to the Vikings defense, but I think that was definitely like the Bills just caught the Vikings in the trap game, and I think the Vikings were looking ahead to the Rams and just overlooked the Bills completely. Meanwhile, I think the Packers are gonna, they're just coming off of a loss for the Redskins. I think, once obviously the return of Aaron Jones is gonna help Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Packers in this, especially at home. I'm gonna go Packers 24, Bills 14.
Now, to kind of leapfrog off of what Flip was saying about coming back down to earth and just completely in Minnesota just completely underestimating Buffalo and just start thinking they were going to run through them. It was not the case. But I mean, come on, Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau. I would take a 50% Aaron Rodgers over a 100% Nathan Peterman or who's starting right now? Is it still Nathan Peterman or is it
No, Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
It's Josh Allen.
Yeah. Still, I mean, one thing that Green Bay needs to stop the penalties and they need to get the running game back on track. If they do that, they'll be fine. Because Buffalo's defense isn't great, but thing is, one thing that Buffalo knows how to do, which we've seen, is capitalize off mistakes. Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't make mistakes. Well, he rarely makes mistakes, and he can come back from those mistakes. So I'm gonna be the smart guy this week, and I'm not gonna be the risk taker. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one to Green Bay by 9 points over Buffalo. 9 points. All right, next up, we got Detroit on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry's World. Flip, who you got? Lions, Cowboys.
I don't know.
Me either.
The Cowboys defense isn't looking good. Their offense, it's decent.
Be honest, Flip. You go ahead. You can go ahead and be honest about Dak Prescott. We can all be honest about Dak Prescott right now.
I don't know, man. Dak's not who they wanted. They should have kept Romo.
No. I wouldn't say they should have kept Romo. Romo was getting old anyway. He was kind of getting tired of all the criticism that he was getting. So I understand. I mean, Dak showed off in his rookie season, but then he got that sophomore slump, and then people were wise to Dak's game. They're like, well, he's a play action pass kind of guy, and he feeds the ball to Zeke. As long as we stop the run and we keep the ball in Dak's hands for 3 seconds, that pass rush, if we hold the ball and if Dak holds that ball for longer than 3 seconds, we can get to him. Defenses have said that. But keep going.
All right, okay. If we're calling this a sophomore slump, then what's Deshaun Watson having? Because Deshaun Watson, they're saying that Deshaun Watson isn't the quarterback we thought he was.
No.
He's weird.
No.
And he's over here throwing. Like, he's actually looking like a good quarterback after that first. But Dak, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like Dak, he's being carried, and Zeke is being, I don't know. I think Zeke's a little case.
Mm-hmm.
But their defense is doing pretty well. I feel like their defense is holding up really good. But the Lions team, they're getting impressive, man. I kind of like their roster. I like Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay, Stafford when he's throwing accurate. What's his name? Blunt and other dude. I don't know. They have another running back on there that's pretty well, or he's doing pretty well. But so, I don't know. I feel like the Lions are going to come in here and they're just going to keep rolling with the momentum. They just beat the Patriots. I'm sure they're hyped.
Yeah.
But it might be close. I don't think they're going to come in here and steamroll the Cowboys in Jerry's world. So I'll say that they beat the Cowboys 2017.
All right. What's the time for you guys? Lions, Cowboys.
I got the Lions in this game.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys really haven't shown me anything this season. Like they've only beaten the Giants. I don't think that was an impressive win. Meanwhile, I think Detroit. Detroit has a better offense. I'll give the edge defensively to the Cowboys, but I think coming off that win against the Patriots was big for them. That boosted their confidence, and I think they basically were able to limit Tom Brady. Like, what are they going to do against Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
I mean, the Cowboys are kind of looking foolish right now because, granted, Dez may have lost the step or whatever, but they really don't like Dez Bryant at this point. Like, they really don't have anyone to throw to. Like, they don't know how to utilize someone like Tavon Austin. Like, he seems to be the only real maybe potential deep threat, but they don't. Dak has looked very, very limited. He's averaging almost 5 yards a pass, which is that offense is really limited, and Ezekiel is going to do so much. That offensive line isn't what they once were. But even at home, I like Detroit's offense better than the Cowboys. Cowboys get the edge defensively. I like the Lions to win this game. I'm going to say Lions 21, Cowboys 10.
All right, gentlemen, you both make extremely good cases. The Lions pretty much have got all the tools to beat Dallas in Jerry's world. And yeah, the load is too much on Zeke since they don't have a reliable receiving core like they do. And like I said, if Dak needs to get rid of that ball quicker than the receivers want him to. And I think that's the reason why receivers are kind of, that's why they're not clicking, is because if Dak holds on to the ball for longer than 3 seconds, he's getting sacked. Now, I've wrestled with this one because I'm like, hey, Detroit just beat the Patriots, and the Patriots are a better team than Dallas. But the way Dallas lost to the Seahawks last week, I feel like that they got something to prove. But it's going to be in the hands of the defense to really bring this game home for Dallas. Like I said, I've wrestled with this one, and I don't know, guys. This really is a pick 'em for me. A Detroit win wouldn't surprise me, but I know that I'm going to regret this later. I just know I am. But I'm going to have I'm picking Dallas by 6 points in this game. Now, I will say this though. I'll say this. Is it too early for me to say this? Because I say that if Dallas loses to Detroit at Jerry's World, they can forget about the postseason because I predicted that Dallas' record will be 8-8. Do you guys think it's too early for me to say that?
They don't have any weapons, man.
Yeah.
The defense can't carry them all these games. They gotta start putting on offense. I don't think they have the offense to pull it off.
Yeah.
I think Zeke had 18 targets for 30 yards or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. How do you have 18 catches for 30 yards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But my question is, if Dak keeps sucking, is Jerry Jones crazy enough? Because we know Jerry Jones is the hype man.
Yeah.
Is he crazy enough to sign Kaepernick?
No, he's not.
Well, I don't know. Well,
I don't know that.
Yeah, we've seen crazier things happen, and he might be desperate enough to do it. He might be desperate enough to do it. I think so. Because I think Kaepernick is better than Dak is.
I mean,
He might. I think the thing is, Multiple times, you don't think so, but I think that Jerry might be crazy and or desperate enough to do it to sign Kaepernick. He probably is. If he gets desperate and pissed off enough. Because come on, he put the fate of Dallas in Tony Romo's hands for a decade. He trusted that man with a whole damn franchise. He's like, okay, I'm putting the franchise on your back. Take us to a Super Bowl. And 7 out of those 10 seasons, they made the playoffs and didn't get past the first round. So yeah, Jerry Jones has to have a screw loose somewhere. So him signing Kaepernick, it wouldn't be out of the norm for him.
Jerry respects people that stay in line versus someone like Kaepernick, who obviously they have some sort of differences, probably in political standpoints, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kaepernick would accept the job with Dallas, to be honest. I think even if Jerry Jones came to him, I mean Kaepernick might look at it and be skeptical of it. Like, it's kind of a weird situation because Jerry Jones for sure is one of those owners that, if there is illusion proven, that I'm sure Jerry Jones was somewhat involved or definitely took a part in it. I mean, the man was throwing out Brandon Whedon out there for Dallas for some time. So I mean, you're right. He does have, I'm sure he's got a screw loose, but I just did not see. I can't see Kaepernick in a jersey in Texas. Not being out for the anthem. I'm not sure what would happen.
But Kaepernick's been to a Super Bowl. Romo and Dak haven't. Something just something.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I absolutely agree that I think Kaepernick is better than a lot of quarterbacks that are on rosters in the NFL right now. And he's done enough in a short amount of time to warrant an opportunity, but Jerry Jones, I just don't see it. I could see Kaepernick going to a different team, maybe like the Giants or something, but or I don't know, or even maybe like Chicago, because Trubisky's not it. But I can't see him in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't either. Like I said, but crazier things have happened. So, I mean, it wouldn't be something that's out of the ordinary. But I mean, hey. We'll see. I think they've gotten to week 8, but I mean, we'll see. All right, next up, we got the Tampa Bay Bucks on the road at Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears. Flip, who you got? Bears, Bucks.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, me either. I was wrestling with this one myself.
Oh man, the Bears defense is the Bears defense. Lil Max is definitely a monster.
Mm-hmm. And Chicago still got that 1-2 running game, that 1-2 punch running game in there. They still got that. And Mitchell Trubisky, yeah.
I was gonna say that Bucks O-line looked real weak last week against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like Fitzpatrick was getting almost hit every time he dropped back. So I'm kind of skeptical because I feel like Lil Mac might have one of those 5-sack games. I don't really like Trubisky's game too much. It feels like they're not really clicking on offense too well. This might be one of those games where Fitzpatrick has to wait for the defense to tire themselves out before he starts clicking. So I might lean with the Bucks here. Yeah, I'm gonna lean with the Bucks here to win 24 to 24-20.
All right. Walter, who you got? Bears or Bucks at Soldier Field?
So I like the Chicago defense tremendously. I like the talent on Chicago. The only issue is the quarterback. Trubisky's not it. He looked good for one half in the first game of the season against the Packers, and I haven't really liked much of what I've seen since. It's just like that team, the defense literally kind of willed themselves and carried themselves to a victory against the Cardinals, last week. I think the Bucs are a better team than the Cardinals. The only thing that's interesting I would find is the game plan for the Bucks. They throw deep they throw deep often. Like Fitzpatrick carries it out, but I think against that defense, against Khalil Mack, you got to do a lot of short passes, a lot of quick passes to get that offense moving. I don't know if the way the Bucks attack and all the deep throws are conducive against that front line against the Bears. I think that's going to cause Fitzpatrick to get sacked a lot. I think it's going to cause potential fumbles.
Yeah.
And some bad throws. So it depends on the game plan. I can't. It's just Trubisky. If they have like a competent quarterback, if they have like a C average or C plus quarterback, I would probably take the Bears in this game. But I think Fitzpatrick has maybe another game in him. Another potential 400-yard game in him. He's already jumped 3 straight. So maybe that ends this week. But I think the Bucks win this game. The Bucks quickly say 21-14 against the Bears.
Mm.
But I proposed this is interesting thing. I proposed the question last week about if Fitzpatrick continues to play well, do we see Winston starting or do we see Winston getting traded? What would you guys think about the Winston being on the Bears? Is that a potential destination for us?
I don't see him. I don't know because I don't see him as a Chicago Bear. I think he probably will just be the backup for the Bucks. I don't really see him fitting anywhere else. At least not right now.
No, I was go ahead. No, I was gonna say if Fitzpatrick let's say he has another game like the Steelers where he has a terrible half, he throws multiple picks, but let's say he does enough to get into a competitive game. Does he still warrant another start, or what's up after this game?
I say you still start.
Mm-hmm.
I think James is supposed to come back this week, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to come back this week. But they're still gonna start Fitz though. They're still gonna start Fitz regardless if he comes back. Yeah.
I still think they're gonna start Fitz.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that James is their guy, but they're just gonna ride the hot hand until it's over.
Yeah.
They might sit James the entire season if Fitzpatrick is killing it, or he might start playoffs. Maybe I don't know.
They did the same thing when you remember when Sam Bradford was with the Vikings and they sat out Teddy Bridgewater. They did the exact same thing.
I could ask it again. I could definitely see if Fitz is getting whooped in the first round of playoffs, like the first pass, they just bring Jameson because it's the playoffs. But if Fitz is riding the hot hand this entire season, I feel like he's got that starting job.
Oh yeah. Now, as part of my prediction for the Bears and the Bucks, I have to once again leapfrog off of what Walzatop says. It's going to have to do with strategy. Now Trubisky is going to have to ride the ball. He's going to have to ride the clock and keep the ball in his hands as much as possible. Now, with the Bucks, it has to be the exact opposite. Fitz, he has to get rid of that ball quick, and the line is going to have to make sure he does that. I think that, of course, the Bears have a little bit better. Okay, yeah, their defense is better, obviously. It's just a matter of this game is going to come down to clock and time management. Who does better with the time of possession? And if you ask me, even and especially since they're a Soldier Field, I like Chicago chances a lot better than Tampa Bay Bucks. So go ahead and give me the Bears 21-27 over the Bucks. Bears over Bucks by 7 points.
It's 21-7?
No, by 6 points, 21-27.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh no, nah. You got to give the Bucks more respect than that, even if they are Soldier Field. Yeah, you got to give them way more respect than that. All right. Next up, we got. This could be a good one. Cincinnati going up against another NFC South team, the Atlanta Falcons. Flip, who you got?
Okay, now here's the crazy part about this. First off, Andy Dalton has looked pretty damn good lately. Matt Ryan is with defense. So the quarterback comparison is kind of evens out right now, in my opinion. And they both have elite receivers, and from incoming wide receiver too, and Tyler Boyd and Calvin Ridley were out there looking like they could be wide receiver one. The Bengals and Falcons, I don't know, man. They're evenly matched there. Gio Bernard and Kevin Coleman are the backup stars right now. I think this might be the shootout game. I'm starting to think this might be the shootout game. And I feel like, man, if Julio was scoring touchdowns, I would go with the Falcons, but he's not. AJ Green, if he's not injured this game, I might have to go with the Bengals to win this one. 34-28.
Wow. You sticking with that pick?
I'm staying with that pick. If AJ Green is not hurt, the Bengals win 34-28.
Wow.
Even if he is hurt, Tyler Boyd might take over, man. That dude was looking nice out there. But, yeah, I got to go with the 34-28 Bengals.
All right. What's the top? Who you got? Falcons or Bengals?
Yeah. This is a close game. I agree with Chris. I think this is a high-scoring game. I think essentially might be the game of the week. Both teams, they can air it out with their guys, their receivers. I mean, Julio's got to score a touchdown at some point, and maybe this is the game he finally does, especially at home. I think Dalton's been a little bit more impressive to me than Ryan, but Ryan had like an insane game last week. Just get done against the Breeze and the Saints. And you're right, both their starting running backs are out right now. So it's getting choose between Bernard or Tevin Coleman. I like Coleman a little bit more than Bernard. But I just think the Bengals. I trust the Bengals a little bit more. I like Marvin Lewis a little bit more than the Falcons coach. I like them a little bit better defensively as well. I think this is the game. I think they win this game. I think it's a close shootout. I'm going to go Bengals in this game, 34, and the Falcons 27.
All right. Now, unfortunately, I got to disagree with both of you gentlemen here. Now, yeah, I know. But the thing is, one weapon is not going to be enough to beat Atlanta at home. I'm sorry, it's just not. And Cincy, while their linebackers are good and they can probably get to Matt Ryan, who's versatile, by the way, I don't think that they have an answer for Julio Jones. They're going to have to lock Julio Jones down, but they're still going to have Muhammad Sanu running back there. And is Devontae Freeman playing, right?
No, he's injured. He's still out.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, even still, their running game is still above average. This is probably – you're right. This probably is going to be a high-scoring game. But go ahead and give me Atlanta in this game by 8 points. I say 34-28 Atlanta.
All right.
Yeah.
I think it's the same score.
Yeah. I got Atlanta by 8 points. All right, next up, probably a sleeper game, but I'm going to watch this one anyway. The Seahawks going on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Flip, who you got? Cards, Seahawks.
Cardinals, I don't know, man. I think they're putting out their new quarterback this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
So that's sketchy. I don't know how he's going to play out, but the rookies have been playing pretty good this year, so he might have a game. David Johnson, hopefully he's able to play the game finally. They've been playing keep away with him for some reason. Yeah, I don't know, man. The Cardinals aren't that great of a team right now. The Seahawks have been clicking. They just revamped their O-line and looked pretty good against the Cowboys. Yeah, I might have to go with the Seahawks here. I'll give them a 24-13 score. And the 13 is a missed field goal.
All right. Walter Todd, who you got? Seahawks or Cards?
I like the Seahawks in this game. I think the infrastructure. I'll go with that overall versus the Cardinals. Granted, the Seahawks are just it really is sad to see this team. They just seem like a shell of what they once were. Russell's doing what he can. I think Doug Baldwin is still out. It just seems like that offense is pretty trash. I think it's going to be a terrible game, honestly. It's just the Rams are so lucky to be in that position.
Yeah.
The Rams are clinched by like week 8. They really could clinch by week 8. This is how ridiculous that division is.
Yeah.
So both teams are. I actually like more offensive pieces on the Cardinals. But overall, I give my respect to the Seahawks over what they've done the last like 5-6 years. So, and I don't, again, even though that's not the Legion of Boom, I need to see more of Rosen. So I'm gonna get the edge to the Seahawks in this game, but I think it's gonna be kind of a terrible game. I can see this being like a 17-14 game, by field goal, and I'll go to the Seahawks.
All right. Arizona still hasn't really shown me anything regardless of the quarterback situation. Me personally, I think that Baker Mayfield should have went to Arizona, but that's a whole different story for another day. Seattle, while they were the underdog in Jerry World, which I'm glad that I picked them, they managed to scrape out a win. Well, not even scrape it out. They actually managed to win pretty convincingly against the Cowboys. And I don't see why they couldn't do the same thing against the Seahawks. And I don't even think the Seahawks. Not against the Seahawks, but against the Cards. And at this point, the Cowboys are a better team than Arizona is right now. So go on ahead and give me Seattle by 12 points over the Cards. All right. Next up, we got the Cleveland Browns going on the road against the Oakland Raiders. Flip, who you got? Browns, Raiders.
Oh man, Baker Mayfield is looking pretty good in that game, man.
Yeah.
Carlos Hyde looked good in that game. We got Jarvis Landry and this Callaway dude who's supposed to be pretty up and coming. And their defense is actually pretty solid, man. Man. They've been holding on in a couple games against like the Steelers, so it's not like I need to say, the Browns suck, and I'm picking the Raiders, but you know what? I'm gonna go with the Browns. I'm gonna say Baker shows he's not a fluke player, and the Browns win it 24-13. No, 24-14.
Wow. All right. All right, Walter Tyler, who you got? Browns, Raiders.
Yeah, man. It's going to be interesting to see how well Baker plays against a team that is actually going to be prepared for him. It's possible to say that Baker Mayfield caught the Jets off guard coming in the second half. I think some of the Jets players came out and said they weren't prepared to play Baker. So it's very possible that Baker just having a blessing in a bottle and put together a good half. Meanwhile, the Raiders have a full week to prepare for him, but I do like the talent and the pieces on Cleveland, on both sides of the ball. The Raiders just, to me, it's kind of crazy how they're not really able to utilize the pieces they have on offense. I would think they would be better with that receiving core. If Derek Carr would playing much better, especially with having John Gruden, quarterback guru, as his head coach. But it just seems like, Amari Cooper is just falling off the face of the earth. And I mean, Jordy came back last week for the game, but I don't know. I like Cleveland. Cleveland's been pretty gutsy the entire season. They've had some, they had a solid win, and even in the ties, they still kind of impressed me. I'm gonna kind of go with Cleveland in this game too. Actually, even on the road, I like Cleveland in this game. Give me Cleveland. Cleveland 21. Oakland 17.
All right. I underestimated Cleveland this year because they actually got a little bit of a squad. They've actually got some weapons. Now, whether they're clicking, that's a whole different story entirely. I don't think Oakland is going anywhere this year, but I think that their coaching just might be just a tad bit better than Cleveland's is at this point. Like I said, regardless of how good Cleveland's weapons are, it doesn't mean you think you can't execute. But hey, I mean, Baker Mayfield, he did his thing against the Jets on Thursday night. I was wrestling with this one. I really was. And I got this a close game. Hopefully Derek Carr can show us something. Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield is just because of experience. I mean, but we're gonna see, and especially if we get that Marshawn Lynch beast mode back, like we're used to. But go ahead and give me Oakland in this game. Give me the Raiders 27-24 over Cleveland. Yeah. Oakland by 3 points. Next up. Yeah. All right. Now next up.
Oh, let me just say this real quick. I've noticed that all your picks against this trade have been teams like the Bengals and Browns, and seems a little biased.
That's a coincidence. That's purely coincidence.
Oh, well, AFC North the bias. There's more about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's just ignore that. That's just a complete coincidence right there. Anywho. Now we got the New Orleans Saints going on the road against the New York Giants. Flip, who you got? Giants, Saints.
Giants, Saints. Oh man, Alvin Kamara is a monster. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas is a monster. I just want to say that.
Saquon Barkley is also a monster.
Did you guys know that Michael Thomas has been thrown to 40 times this season, and he's caught 38 passes?
Wow.
Great. That ratio is great.
So Drew Brees is out here slinging the ball, man, and I don't think we appreciate it enough. Man, the Giants, I don't know. They just seem so fluky. Like, it seems like every time they win, I'm just sitting here like, how are you guys losing to the Giants, like to the other team? I don't feel like the Giants have anything to stop Kamara. I feel like Lattimore can slow down Odell, and I think that the check down big one can work, but I feel like you're gonna fall behind if you keep doing that game plan against the Saints. So yeah, I got the Saints winning this one. I'll say 28-17.
All right. Walter Todd, who you got? Giants, Saints.
So Giants got a little bit of the swagger back from last week, and so they won on against Houston on the road. I would say I like Houston's defense better than the Saints defense.
Yeah.
This is gonna be potentially a game where Odell goes off, gets his touchdown, first touchdown of the year. Barkley, I think, has a monster game against this defense. The only thing though is I'm just curious. I think Breeze, whatever offense the Giants put on them, whatever points they score, I think Breeze and their squad can match it. Breeze is having a phenomenal year. Meanwhile, obviously, just after this one game, I don't know if the Giants are fully, they've made the turn and they're going to start playing well going forward. I'm not sure if I quite trust them. Saints, I don't know. I mean, the one game, even though the game they lost to the Bucs, that was crazy. And they looked crappy against the Browns, but they still pulled it out. I think last week's victory was huge for him on the road. I think it gets a little bit easier against the Giants squad. I'm going to go Saints in this game. And I think it's going to be. I think this could potentially be a high-scoring game. I'll say Saints in this 34. Giants 24.
All right. Well, geez, you pretty much just said what I was gonna say because I predicted the Saints to win by 10. But yeah, just to go in a little bit more detail, while the Giants looked good last week, I think they've been the underdog in every single game this year because the Giants they're still trying to find themselves and trying to come from last season because last season was uncharacteristic of the Giants. And I think they're still trying to find themselves, even with an aging Eli Manning. And come on, everybody knows what Drew Brees is all about. Drew Brees could be 48, 58 years old instead of 38, still slinging the ball the way he is. It's just that I don't really feel like the Giants' defense is going to be enough to stop Drew Brees. I mean, but thing is, the running game for New Orleans and New York is just about equal. So I think it's going to come down to who makes the most, down the field plays, who airs it out. And Eli has a higher turnover ratio than Drew Brees does. We got to keep that in mind. So yeah, go ahead and give me the New Orleans Saints by 10 points over the New York Giants.
Quick back here before we move on. So Brees right now is having a monster year. So Brees projected right now, he's projected to throw 5,700 yards, 43 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Jesus.
Meanwhile, Eli Manning projected at 4,200 yards, 16 TDs, 5 picks. It's a little bit of a big discrepancy right now at the quarterback.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind for this game.
Yeah.
I got a question though. Dre, you think that Saquon Barkley is as good as Alvin Kamara?
Oh wow. That's damn.
Equal. You said they're equal.
Damn. I feel like Alvin Kamara can do a little bit more. He's a little bit more versatile, but I feel like Saquon is a little bit more of a running back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can see that.
I have to say Alvin Kamara is just a little bit more well-rounded than Saquon Barkley is, which makes him better.
I can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
When you say equal, I was saying like, I don't know, man. But I guess you could attribute that to the offense that they're both in.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say I think I could see Saquon competing anywhere. I'm not sure if I could say that about Kamara competing as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, next game, and I know that Flip has been licking his chops at this one.
Yeah, I'm not me.
The San Francisco 49ers on the road against the LA Chargers. Flip, go ahead and take this one away.
I'm sorry, what? You called us on a good week, man. You called us on a good week.
I was looking forward to this game. I was kind of.
I'm sure.
Jimmy G versus Phillips, and then the knee happened. I was like,
the football gods just threw a lightning bolt into the ACL of Jimmy G.
That's what it looked like. I thought he got knocked out on that play, but
yeah.
I thought he hurt his shoulder. I thought he hurt his shoulder first.
No.
And then they showed the replay, and I'm like, man, it was me. It's crazy. You could have stepped out of bounds, dove out of bounds, man. You don't need to take that hit. You don't need to try to break inside and try to bump tackle. Get out of bounds. Like live to play another play.
Yes, you are not Michael Vick, Kaepernick, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton. You are Jimmy G. You have an arm. Use it.
They're not. All right, go ahead, Flip.
Yeah, go ahead, Flip.
Take your pick.
all right. I don't know much about CJ Beathard, but I'm pretty sure he's the backup for a reason. I think he was the backup for the dude that was on the 49ers before, right? What's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the backup. He was behind Gabbard actually. He did play. He was behind BJ Hoyer. Hoyer.
Yeah, Hoyer, Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer, yeah, sorry, Brian Hoyer. He actually played a couple of games. He didn't look that bad. It was like okay, it's all right. And then obviously once we got Jimmy G and Professor got injured and Jimmy G came in like right away, fill in. So it was like, all right, let's walk with Jimmy G and then he started tearing it up. So it was like sit with that. But Professor's not as bad as people might think. He's definitely a drop off for sure. It's just I mean the Niners are working out Tom Savage right now.
Yeah.
So it's terrible right now in San Fran. But Becker, he's okay, he's confident, but it's just unfortunately with that offense, with the pieces, they're just not good enough to kind of cover up the loss they're gonna have in Jimmy G. As good as Shanahan is offensively, it's gonna be pretty bad. So right now we're just gonna have a terrible season and they hopefully get a good draft pick, but hopefully drive blitz, bunch of score on the pair.
Yeah.
All right, so going into this game with Jimmy G, I was thinking it'd be close, but after that Rams game, I was pretty impressed with how we stayed in it. We obviously lost because of some terrible mistakes on some special teams, I guess you can call it, or defense. But yeah, I don't think that the 49ers have any way to stop Melvin Gordon. I don't think that Phillips gonna have trouble in the pocket with their D line. I like that Mike Williams is finally coming out and showing that he can be that first round pick that we drafted to be. And our defense, I don't know who do the 49ers have that can burn our corners, and I mean like I could see Beathard having some time in the pocket because we don't have Bosa, but I just don't see who he's going to throw it to. I feel like Hayward's going to have Goodwin locked down. I don't see Garcon having some amazing games, and usually good against tight ends. So I'm going to have to give this one to the Chargers. I'll say 27 to 16.
Oh, you were a lot more generous than I thought you were going to be. But what's the time? Who you got? Niners or Chargers?
Give me the Chargers. Chargers are gonna have a field day of this game. They're gonna. It seems like they're gonna like it's a gift for that offense. Like they're gonna put up 30 to 40 points on this team.
Wow.
It's gonna be terrible. I mean our run defense isn't too bad. But yeah, Gordon's you can pretty much just pair us up by just throwing screen passes or having Gordon run to the flat and having him shake everybody because that's all trash to the outside is and the corners and stuff. I think even Sherman's out. I think Sherman he got injured as well as Jimmy G. So Keenan Allen, they're gonna have a great day offensively through the air. Yeah, you're right. Goodwin's really our burner, but it's not gonna be not enough. So Chargers. I'm just so sad about this. I'm just depressed. Give me the Chargers are gonna win this game. They're favored by 10, but I guess they're gonna win by 15 at least. Chargers 34, Niners 17.
Now, if you would have asked me last week before the Jimmy G injury who's going to win this game, I would say it's going to be a toss-up. And Goodwin is really their only weapon that the 49ers have. And is Richard Sherman out?
Yeah, I believe he's out.
Oh my God. Well, that just about seals it, doesn't it, gentlemen? And even though Phillip Rivers is a veteran quarterback, he still can do enough to light up the defense of the San Francisco 49ers because the 49ers defense really is not what it used to be. They're the 49ers without Jimmy G and without Richard Sherman, and they only have like one or two good weapons. The best they can hope for is if Phillip Rivers just craps the bed and they get monster possession. And I mean, the best they can hope for is if Phillip Rivers has like 6 turnovers and they get monster possession off of that. But come on, I don't really see that happening. I mean, Flip, I know you say the Chargers don't have home games because they have a horrible habit of blowing a home game just in the last 4 minutes. But I don't really think they got that much to worry about in this game. So go ahead and give me the Chargers 9 points over San Fran in this game.
No. Let me put a disclaimer here.
Uh-huh.
The Chargers can definitely beat themselves.
Yeah.
Do not be surprised if the 49ers win this game.
I will be. I'll be surprised if they do.
No.
I will.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I will.
Because last game, we were keeping up with the Rams, and then Derwin James picks it off, and what does he do? He runs it out to the 1-yard line. Rams get a free touchdown off that, and then it was all downhill from there. Man. It was crazy. That play was so crazy. Like, as he caught it, I mean, obviously I get it. Like, he's running forward to make that pick, and like the momentum or whatever carried him out of the end zone. And I saw him like jump over the pylon. I'm like, I'm wondering myself, like, are they gonna put him on the one? I'm like, that's crazy. Like, that's almost worse than if he just like knocked it down. Like, I mean, it was crazy. I saw him pick the ball up and he jumped out, and the first thing I yelled out was, "Oh my God!" He stepped out at the one. Like, I was so sad, man, because I knew right then and there that something bad was gonna happen. Because every time we're like backed up to our end zone, it's always bad news. There's nothing. And then some idiot fucking Wisenhunt decides to run the ball up against Aaron Donald and Sue twice, and then decides to throw the ball. I don't know what the hell is going on. So, like I said, the 49ers could win. Don't be surprised.
The Chargers have won I would say the Chargers probably top 10, top 8 in terms of talent on their roster, both sides of the ball. I just think unless you guys have a terrible coaching brain fart, and Rivers just has a bad game, I don't see any foreseeable scenario where the Chargers don't win this game.
Yeah.
Can do that.
All right. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it likely? Hell no, it's not. All right. Next, Sunday night primetime game. We've got. Yeah, you guys know what's next. We got the Baltimore Ravens on the road at Heinz Field against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, before I get to my prediction, if this game is anything like the last primetime games they had against each other, which I hope it is, regardless of the winner, it's going to be the game of the week. I hope this game mirrors the primetime games they had last week against each other. But Flip, who you got? Steelers, Ravens.
Oh man! All right, but Juan, you gonna go first for this one? Because I gotta laugh.
So do I. So somebody start us off.
Yeah. Okay. Gosh, this is gonna be. I would think if you were to tell me like a player is gonna retire at halftime at some point, if you were to tell me what would the game be?
Yeah.
And I would think to myself, I'm like, what game would there just be like? Just bodies all in the field, like penalties left and right, late hits, dirty plays. Like, what would it cost someone to just look at it? We just want to walk away from the game. I'd probably pick this game. This game's gonna be really. It's gonna be like a hard no game. I mean, the Ravens are better than I would have thought this season. Pittsburgh just came back. You know, they look like they turned the corner a little bit. So it's pretty somewhat kind of an even match. I think we're catching both teams at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to see this game. And it seems, Connor had a pretty solid game last night. After kind of not having a great week 2. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Steelers in this game. Then pulls it off. I'm gonna go Steelers. Steelers 23, Ravens 20.
Wow. All right. Flip, who you got? Ravens, Steelers.
Okay, the Steelers are at their highest field.
Yep.
If you would have told me last season that Juju Smith-Schuster would be the leading
Rusher,
receiver
yeah.
on the
Steelers.
I'd be surprised. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's Ben or if it's AB, if it's just the lack of Le'Veon. People aren't so scared of his offense anymore. But it's been weird. Like that play by Vance McDonald.
Oh God, he disrespected that man's soul.
I think dude's on IR now.
Yeah.
So it's plays like that I was thinking, like, man, like the Steelers are getting kind of lucky here. The penalties against the Bucs. You guys had 2 shootouts basically in the last 2 games. You guys had a neck and neck game with the Browns. So it's like when you guys come up against a team that actually has a defense that seems like it could make some noise this season in the Ravens, and they know your team, and now they don't have to deal with Le'Veon. I'm just thinking, like, this might be a Ravens game.
Mm-hmm.
And now they actually have John Brown, Michael Crabtree, Alex Collins looking good.
Alex Collins gave us trouble in the last game. He gave us trouble.
Yeah, I remember that game. He was cutting y'all up.
Yeah.
Buck Allen's looking pretty good as a relief running back. Yeah, the Ravens actually have an offense this season. I could see them giving you guys hell because you guys seem like you're still not back on track there. I feel like there's something off with the team. And it might be Le'Veon for all I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But this might be the underdog pick. I don't know what the line is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with the Ravens this game. I think the Ravens get you guys at home. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout or anything crazy. I think it's going to be close. I'll say the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to come up on you guys like 27-23, and then Ben's going to have to drive it down. He might throw a pick.
Yeah.
And that might be game. So, yeah, I'll give it Ravens 27-20.
I can see. You know what? I can see that happening. I really can, because it happens. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the Pittsburgh Steelers' worst enemy, and like right now, you're right. No, they haven't really smoothed everything over in the locker room, and it's been translating over. It's been translating onto the field. Now, these two teams, they got a pretty damn good history. I mean, and the thing is, they have smash mouth football games. There's almost an injury, whether it be minor or major, in every single game these guys play. So yeah, there's gonna be some hard hits, and don't be surprised if you see penalties in the double digits for both teams. I'm gonna go ahead and say that, and that might be one of the determining factors. Big Ben, I see Big Ben going off in this game. I mean, because look at all the weapons that he's got. I mean, as far as receivers, even the rookie James Washington, he's been showing off. And the thing is, we had a 1-2 punch with Vance McDonald and Jesse James as both of our tight ends. But Vance McDonald's been producing more for us lately. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jesse James is still a beast, but yeah. And as far as Baltimore can prove to be a threat because they are a team that they do know us very, very well. And if they've been watching some game tape of us, then they know exactly where the holes in our game are. And the holes in our game right now, it's the secondary. It ain't no doubt about that. So all pretty much like the keys to victory for Baltimore is all they got to do is just air the ball out like 15 yards outside the line of scrimmage, because 9 times out of 10, unless the receiver drops the ball, we always get beat deep, and it is ridiculous. I don't think their running game is about neck and neck, but it's going to come down to that one big play. And if this was a Baltimore home game, I'll be honest, as a Steelers fan, I'd pick Baltimore, because as a Steelers fan, nobody's harder on the Pittsburgh Steelers than I am, and I'm a fan of them. But call me crazy, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Pittsburgh Steelers by 6 points. 2 field goals over Baltimore. It's going to be a close game.
So, quick 2 things. One, DreadMan, how worried are you about the Steelers' schedule coming up? Because I looked at that schedule. That schedule is pretty difficult.
Yeah, because we've got teams like New Orleans, and we've got the Patriots, and we've got the Carolina Panthers at home. And we still got to face the Bengals twice, and we got to face the Browns, at Heinz Field. That one might be a little bit more in our favor. But yeah, going down the stretch, it's going to be hard. And I predicted our season to be, I think I said either 11-5 or 12-4. I think I said 12-4. But yeah, if they don't smooth things over in the locker room, hell, as much as I hate to say it, we might not even win our division. We might not even win the AFC North this year. It's going to come down to those divisional games, definitely. But, I'm a little bit uneasy. But, if we can get things going, because Steelers football, we really get things together and play our best football in October and November. So, but the thing is, like you said, we got some hard teams. We got to face Carolina in October. We got to face let's see, who else we got to face. And at the end of November, we got to face New England. Like I said, we got to face the Bengals twice. So yeah, we'll see.
You got the Jags, Chargers, and the Saints too.
Yeah, we still got to face them too. So are we? All right, is that game at Heinz Field?
The Chargers game is at Heinz Field. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well we'll cross that bridge once we come to it, because then I'll get a better idea of who to pick in that game. But yeah, we got a tough ass schedule, and if we get to the playoffs this year, then we really will have earned it.
So I think this week has been a week where people have been starting to kind of boost up the trade rumors for Le'Veon.
Oh yeah.
What team would be best to trade for Le'Veon right now?
The teams that I'm hearing the most are the Seattle Seahawks or Green Bay. I don't think he's gonna stay in the NFC, and if he doesn't, I guess that's good for us. But still, I think
y'all should be petty. I think y'all should be petty and trade for the Dolphins to screw over the Patriots.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But I said at the beginning of the week that I was like, man, if the Steelers lose to the Bucks this Monday, they are going to go and they're going to pretty much go knocking down Le'Veon Bell's front door and kissing his feet. They're going to pay that man whatever the hell he wants just to ensure the season gets better. But now I think because we won a game, we might have a little bit more leverage against him. Me, I want to see him back. I want to see him in that black and yellow uniform. But, with the way it's looking right now, he's probably, he's got until, week 8 to even step foot on a football field before they trade him? Yeah, week 8, week 10, somewhere in that area. Yeah, he's got until.
He has to sign the tender by week 10, I think.
Yeah. But still, it's not looking good. But the thing is, it's going to depend on the performance of James Conner and our record going down the stretch all the way up until week 8. Week 10. But yeah, now, last but not least, we got this could be a better game than a lot of people giving it credit for. But the Kansas City Chiefs on the road at Mile High Stadium against the Denver Broncos. Flip, who you got? Broncos, Chiefs. AFC West matchup.
The way the Chiefs have been looking, Patrick Mahomes, man, he scares me.
But at this point of the season, because everybody knows how the Chiefs are. The Chiefs play good the first 4, 5, 6 games, and they fall apart against a team who they are on paper better than. Could this be one of those games, or are we? Because Mahomes, he is a monster. But the thing is, you got to think about it. This is his first year as a starter. He's got to show off. All quarterbacks do it. Cam Newton did it. Let's see. Who else? What other rookie quarterback? Deshaun Watson did it. Who else? There's been a bunch of quarterbacks. Dak Prescott did it. He showed off his rookie year. A whole bunch of quarterbacks show off that rookie year because they got to. They're fighting for a spot. So, yeah. But, not only is Mahomes a good quarterback, he knows how to use those weapons. And the defense is the only thing iffy about Kansas City is the defense. The defense got to click a little bit more. But yeah, what were you saying before I make my pick? Flip, who you got?
But yeah, to go on your what you're saying. Yeah, those guys showed up, but there's something different about Mahomes, man. It's like he can throw the deep ball accurate as hell. He can move out the pocket, and his arm is crazy. Like, do you see these passes?
Yes, they're bullets.
They are straight bullets.
Yeah.
Like these aren't good.
Yeah, he don't go floater balls. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm like, he's the real deal to me. I don't feel like it's one of those, oh, he might have a slump next season. He looks like the real deal. And it's not like he's just throwing to Tyreek Hill and getting like the lucky touchdown on the deep ball that was open. He's throwing it to Travis Hill. He's throwing it to
Kareem Hunt.
His other dude. Yeah, he's not even throwing it to Hunt.
Sammy Watkins too. Sammy Watkins, don't forget about him.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins is out here balling. Like,
yeah.
Kareem Hunt is looking like a bum because they don't need to run the ball and throw it to him to check down anymore. Like, Mahomes is out here, like, changing the offense. And so when I look at the Broncos, I look at a team that has a good defense, but I don't see their offense keeping up with the Chiefs. I feel like if your offense can keep up with the Chiefs, you can beat them, but no team has shown that they can keep up with the Chiefs' offense. So it's like, I can't even give it to the Broncos this game.
Well, the Steelers did, but that's a different story. They kept up with them, but we all...
They had to come back.
Yeah, they had to come back from an ass whooping. But yeah, to no avail. They still took an L that game.
So I definitely see the Broncos having to keep up this game. I don't see them keeping up. I got the Chiefs winning this 34-23.
All right. Walter Todd, who you got? Broncos or Chiefs at Mile High?
Yeah, this is Mahomes. I watched that game. He's unbelievable. He's one of the best young quarterbacks I've seen in those recent years. It's just remarkable. The guy's got one of the best arms I've ever seen. And it just seems like he's in the perfect spot. Like, it's the perfect offense, got the right talent around him that can absolutely, like, utilize that crazy arm of his. It's insane. The one thing I want to see is he can do a lot of stuff. I want to see how he performs against a team with a good defense, that can team well. I want to see a good defensive-minded coach with the right defensive squad to like go up against him. So I'm not sure if he can still adjust mid-game. I don't know if he can adjust with audibles or anything like that. Like, he can move in the pocket, but I want to see if he can adjust to what a defense shows him. That's what I want to see. He can definitely improvise, play make with that roster, but I'm curious to see. I don't know if Denver, Denver a couple of years ago, that defense would have been very interesting against this offense, but Denver's defense is taking a slight step back, and that Denver offense. I'm not sure. I don't think they can keep up with the Chiefs. It isn't Mile High though, so we could see a little bit of a slight step back. I don't know if the Chiefs score 30 again, but I do think that they win this game. But going forward, I want to see how Mahomes performs against the tougher defenses. Yes, he does have the Jags next week after this week, so that would be very interesting. But right now, Mahomes is just he's the MVP. He's playing unbelievable. His numbers are crazy right now. I'm gonna go Chiefs in this though. 27, Broncos 14.
All right. I got this game a little bit closer than you, but I think the result is still going to be the same. So we can go ahead and just call this one a hat trick because Mahomes, he's balling out of control right now. And like I said, not only does he have weapons, but he actually knows how to utilize those weapons. And There's the Broncos secondary isn't what it once was. You know, they don't have Akeem Talib and Chris Harris and stuff like that anymore. So yeah, I mean, I think they still got Chris Harris, but I think that's about it. But yeah, and the thing is, they're running. Von Miller can't do it all. He can't do it by himself on defense, and the Broncos' running game isn't what it used to be. If the Broncos pull this game off, it'll be a freaking miracle, even if it is at Mile High Stadium. So go ahead and give me the Chiefs over the Broncos by 8 points. 34-28. Now, before we sign,
The Broncos can score 28.
oh, you don't think so?
Nah, I mean, the Chiefs defense is trash. Like they get up big, and then like some reason like teams in the second half of games like the Chiefs defense gets kind of tired. I don't know if Case Keenum Monday night can do it against the team. I think they're going to get in a big hole, and it's going to completely throw off their offense. Is Lindsey playing in this game, or did he like get suspended for a game for punching? I'm pretty sure he's
suspended.
Like screaming.
Yeah.
But I mean, he ain't nothing special either.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly. Yeah, you fellas got any final thoughts? Before you sign out tonight?
Shout out to Jesse James.
Oh yeah.
Jesse James, the fantasy killer. Give him a huge shout out this week. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man, I don't have too much to say. There's a couple of good divisional games. I'm curious to see. Obviously, the Sunday night game is going to be crazy. With the Ravens, Steelers, and I look forward to seeing if Mahomes can keep up the magic. Definitely the most exciting player to watch in the NFL right now. But I think the Thursday night game is going to be crazy. I think we got a good two of prime time games that are nationally televised, so that'll be fun to watch. So yeah, it should be a good week of football.
Yeah, definitely. My final thoughts is to Le'Veon Bell. I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope you get what you asked for, whether it be with the Steelers or whether it be with someone else. And like I said, with Jimmy G's injury, that shows why a lot of organizations don't like to give people 8-figure contracts and bigger, because there's no insurance, there's no guarantees. And besides, I'm not saying that Le'Veon Bell doesn't deserve money. I'm not saying that he doesn't produce it, but I mean, come on. I mean, there's 51 other players on the field besides you, or 51 other players on the roster besides you. So the thing is, as far as who I think is going to cave first, I think that depending on the record, the Steelers might cave and give Bell what he wants, but I mean, we'll see about that. And there's a lot of, let's see, I think that right now, Patrick Mahomes probably is the guy to watch. And teams that I hope get it together, or they can forget about the playoffs is the Houston Texans and the New England Patriots. The Patriots still might sleek. The Patriots will still get in the playoffs because, I mean, come on, look at what division they're in. They're in the AFC East. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on that. But that'll do it for this week's episode. I enjoyed this week's episode more than probably any other episode that we've done this week. So, gentlemen, thank you guys for hosting the show with me once again.
No problem. Thanks for hosting us.
All right, no problem. And anyway, that'll do it for this podcast this week. Thank you guys for viewing on Facebook and YouTube, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.